Hey, welcome to the channel. We are going to be making this today. It is a house on a turtle's back. I kind of took this kind of from Slavic folklore, Baba Yaga's house type thing. Traditionally, Baba Yaga, it's not even in a house. It's on a cauldron with chicken legs. But we are going to do it on a turtle's back nonetheless. So let's get started. I've never really explained what I do here. It's weird to do this, but I'll do my best to walk you through this. What I'm doing here is I take the toothpicks and I score them on both sides, kind of pinch them together, both sides. And then when you do that, you're able to kind of give a little bit of an arc or bend and manipulate them into the shape that you want. And here I'm doing the back of the turtle shell here, trying to get the layout of the basic shape so we can start building off of that. Really, if you think about it, this is just like kind of like stained glass, where I'm building the frame first, and then I'll go back later and I'll fill in all the little gaps with toothpicks that I shape and form to fit in there. This is the rim of the turtle shell here. Kind of has a little arc upward to give it that swooping on the corners of the shell. That way, we got a ledge and an end point there for the turtle shell, and later on we'll do a little something with that as well. So yeah, it's just trimming it up there. What else we got here? Spinning around, fancy. Ooh. Okay, now we're working on the filling of the back shell. And this first one I made here, I did a single square and arced them so I could get that bend to the shell. And that just shows how I how I take and bend them and get that arc. And then I do the same thing here. I don't show it, but I take and I just do a bunch of those little ones and bend them in that shape that I want. And then I cut the excess off the edges, so that when we put it on the back of the turtle, it'll lay flat and not have pieces sticking out. I think I show it here in a second. Yeah, you can see where I just keep going with it, and I try to change directions on these little plates on the turtle shell back to give it a little more texture, change it up a little bit. That way it gets some depth whenever you stain it. When you change directions to stain it, it catches the grooves. It always darkens up in the grooves, darker than it does on the heads of the toothpicks. So it gives the natural highlights and shadows that it would have regular anyway. So it's just more of the same, changing the direction so that the pattern is more interesting to look at. And then this is around the rim here. I arc these in little U shapes and then bend them to fit in this little crack here. And I use the tip of the toothpick and I'm tucking it up underneath the shell so that whenever I sand it and it's done, it looks like one smooth continuous piece. And it's a long process, but in the end, I think it looks pretty cool. I think I jump to it here in a minute. I don't think I show all of this, but let's look what we got here. More on the back there. I had to speed this up quite a bit. I think this thing took me around 60 hours total, so I time-lapsed all of it just so you wouldn't have to sit there and watch me glue toothpicks for, a couple days. That would be a really boring video. And I think there's me finishing the rim of the shell there. So I think that completes the top of the shell. It does. All right, thumbs up, yay. All right, this here is me doing the head. This is the outline of the top of the head. I wanted to make the head oversized so that whenever it was all completely finished, I could put a lot more detail and character in the face. So I made the head a little bit larger than it should be, just so, because when it comes to toothpicks, the bigger the piece is, the more detail you can get. So I tend to like to exaggerate the facial features when I make these, because that's where most of the character is in these. And I do the same thing here. I just give the toothpicks a little slight bit of an arc, just so I get that dome to the top of the head. You see it there. And I sand where they meet there in the middle to kind of make it smooth. It's exciting stuff, I'm telling you. Alright, let's see here. And trim off the excess there. Yeah. Sticks to your hand. You gotta let that glue dry before you do too much, because I think on these ones here I didn't use the CA glue. I do there, but you can see that other bottle there. That's that Aleene's Fast Tack. I get that stuff and use it because when it hardens up, I mean, it's good stuff, and it's got a little bit of give to it, so it doesn't make the pieces rigid so much. So if you was to bump it or move it around or manipulate it while you're working it. It's got a little bit of give to it, so it doesn't snap pieces off whenever you're working on it. There's the front part of the face there. There's what I use for the eyes. I don't make the eyes out of toothpicks. I do sometimes if their eyes are big enough, but I found these little spheres, and I thought they'd work pretty good and nice smooth texture. If I make them out of toothpicks, I can make them round. It's just a lot of sanding, and I wanted to have a little bit of a smoother surface there. So this here, I'm doing layers in the face. So this is almost like platelets behind the eyes, and it gives the illusion that there's layers to the skin where it's old and it's folded underneath there. And I come at all these, I don't make a flat pattern here. I come pointward out. That way it's a little bit more pleasing to look at, and it follows the flow of the turtle's head. You can see there I trim off the excess there. Work a little bit at a time, makes it a lot easier, and if you do it all at once, you can come back and sand it that way and not have to worry about having too much there to work with. And I think this is the same thing, but for the chin of the turtle here. I guess chin where it goes into the neck. And then I do the same thing as far as following the flow of the head, making it all go the same direction. Now in some of the pieces I do change direction in them, just so that it doesn't look stale and stagnant. When you change directions, it's really hard with toothpicks because you're kind of limited as far as what texture you can give them. I mean, whenever I score them, it does give them a nice little pattern, but whenever you sand them, you can't really sand too much of the shape because they're so thin. So you got to use a lot of caution when you sand them, or you'll sand through, and then it's a whole other problem to fix a hole when you sand through. I've done it numerous times, and you can fix it, but it just doesn't look as good when you sand through. So I try to limit the amount of sanding I have to do on the actual flat spots, and I do sand a lot of the corners and edges. Look at that beard. That's fantastic. I'm not sure what I'm working on here. Let's look and see if I can figure it out here. That's really tough, and you got to take two ends and glue them together. That's the way I use the CA glue there, because I can take them two tips and put them together and flash them with that spray, and it'll instantly. Oh, this is the bottom of the turtle shell. Okay, and this is the same thing I did to the top dome. This is just the bottom. I made that was me making the outside rim of it, and then on the bottom we're going to put platelets over this. So I wasn't as concerned with having the pattern on this that all matched. I just wanted it all to be filled in because I'm going to put plates over the shell itself on the bottom there to give it a nice textured look. And this is me doing the arms. I take those toothpicks and I make little cylinders out of them, and then I use those for a template to wrap the toothpicks around, so I get the nice cylindrical shape for the arms, and then I finish the bottom of the shell. Looking pretty turtly. I really need to find a better way to mount this camera. You go fast like that, it seems like it's a little wiggly. I'm getting a little motion sick just watching it. I imagine you guys are too. In the future, I'll figure out a way to mount this better, and I'll get better at this as we go along. This is my first time ever doing the voiceover, so bear with me. I'm new at this, and I'm a little nervous. I think this is the third or fourth time I've actually done this voiceover. I probably should make a script, but I'm more of a just kind of make it up as you go. It's just the way I work, I guess. I don't know. Even my toothpick sculptures, I have an idea in my head what I want, but I don't usually look at pictures or any references or anything. I kind of just make it up as I go and hope for the best. So this is going on around the shell here. Boy, this is riveting, isn't it? Okay. Trim the excess off there, and that will give it the kind of the characteristics of the bottom of the turtle shell. Like I said, on this one here, I'm not as concerned about all the pieces going the right way, because later on we're going to make these little shell cover pieces. That's going to cover up all that ugly there on the bottom. The top really is where you want to be careful with having things that don't match too much, but this on the bottom here is not too concerning right now. It looks like we're just about to finish the top portion, shoulder to first knee break in the legs there. And I think this is me doing the second part leading into the feet. Yeah, it is. Um, I wanted to give it like kind of like elephant-like feet, and I don't think I showed that. I think I filmed it, but I think my camera didn't pick it up, or it was corrupt, or my camera was facing the wrong direction. Or, I don't know. It didn't come out, so I think I cut that part out. But I show a little bit of the feet here toward the end of this video, and then that's more of the same, just the same process over and over and over. Give them the score to the shape that you want. You can actually go around the toothpick if you cut it in a twisting pattern, and you can get a corkscrew out of it there. There's a little bit of the feet. I guess I did get some of it, but I kind of wanted to go with tortoise feet, even though it's kind of a crossbred turtle here between tortoise and turtle both. This is the stain I'm using on this. It's just Minwax stain. I didn't do much on that, but that's just I think it's called dark maple or something like that. I think the color I use. And this is me starting on the house. Now on the house, I didn't use toothpicks as much. I wanted to give it old spooky slats, and I wanted more flat surface, so I used the popsicle sticks and tongue depressors pretty much for all of this, except for some of the the little pieces around the windows, as far as the those little cross beams that are inside the windows. But for the most part, this is all pretty much all popsicle sticks. There's a little bit of toothpick there on that small roof, but later on, I think I show it here. I cut a bunch of these those little shards up for the slats, and also I'll cut those into little bitty squares for the roof shingles, which was really hard to do that because the glue sticks to your fingers, and I think I ended up having to use tweezers on a lot of that just because I kept gluing the roof shingles to my fingers. Yeah, that's me making the little shingles there. I think I cut up probably 15 or 20 popsicle sticks to make all these shingles. And the shingles were tricky for me because ooh, fancy. Okay, there's the shingles there. They were a little tricky, like I said, because they kept sticking to my fingers, gluing them to my hands. But it worked out okay. And then this is kind of an overview of what I've got done so far. This is the first of two like little side towers that go on the house, and those are skewers. And then I used the popsicle sticks for the roofing, and I cut some little pieces out to make it look like it was worn a little bit. And this is doing more of these slats for the side of the house, kind of give it that old spooky Scooby-Doo style house. And then this is where I use the toothpicks around. This is, I think, the front door of the little house here. Yeah, it is. And then I use the toothpicks for the framing, but actually use the tongue depressors for the door itself, and then use toothpicks for the little handles and the trim around it. And let's see what we're doing here. This is, that's the top window arch for that door. There's that door I just made. And with this one here, I'm not the greatest painter. I just took it outside and hit it with some gray primer first. Now these are the bottoms of the turtle shell, those plates I was telling you about. They're going to go on the stomach part there. I was getting back to the painting here. I'm not the greatest painter. I wish I was better at the as far as the painting and the weathering, and I need to really start learning more about the doing the little, because this one here I actually use some of the diorama stuff that were as far as the styrofoam, and I use some of the different styles of that shake landscape stuff that and I really enjoyed it. I just need to watch some videos on that and see if there's some tricks I can pick up to make stuff look more realistic. That's the same glue I used on, or that's not a glue, that's the that's the stain. That's the same color of stain I used on the back side of the shell to do the bottom platelets on the turtle. You can see that way it covers up all that ugly. You don't see the change of direction so much. And this is the board I decided to put it on. I paint the whole thing black first. I don't know why, because I went back later and spray painted it all gray. And then that's it. Some of it got corrupt there, and I lost the last little bit of the painting part in the, the turf, I guess you could say, the terrain he's sitting on. But I'm not very good at that anyway, so you didn't miss much. Yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll get better at this as far as filming and doing the voiceovers as time goes on, so please bear with me, and come back again, and we'll make something else. I don't know what, but we'll figure something else out. And have any ideas, drop a comment, let me know, and we'll try to make it out of toothpicks. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Great, thanks.